like I really don't belong. I can't explain it. When I close my eyes, I see a strange reality. Am I dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? You wake up feeling like you really don't belong. You can't explain it, but when you close your eyes you see familiarity. Are you dreaming, or on the edge of remembering? Okay, a mouthful of dates and a date, and the microphone is back on. AC's taking a break for a moment. Yes, we are good. I say I bumped into one of my paintings and put it slightly askew. You know I'm gonna have to take care of that, but not right now. I do have a talk planned for today. Probably one of the most important I will ever have. But that's okay if you don't catch it now, because it's so important. It will be repeated on a regular basis. Matter of fact, a lot. And what I am going to say is not really anything I've not said before, or just don't say it every single day. What I do talk about is what we really are versus what we think we are, and or what we see in the mirror. every day, more people are becoming more aware of what they are, and things are changing. It is the most restless, one might say, mm, spiritually restless in our history as humans, which is pretty cool. Because when we are the most restless, the most energy is created, achieved. We operate under the idea that we are separate from Source. I mean, a lot of people still think that. We're not. We're so completely enmeshed with what we really are, the bigger part of us that does not manifest in a physical realm. It's amazing to even try and describe it with a human mind. And people are doing a good enough job for the most part, who have become aware of that. It's still it seems really slow when we see horrible things happening around the globe. Try not to notice those. I mean, I notice it's like, of course, you know, it's right in your face a lot of the time, and you can't get out of that too easily, but you have to practice it. The reason being is the people who are going to do the most effective changing of this world are not going to be doing it by pushing matter against matter. They're going to be doing it through these energy centers, through our hearts, through our literal energy. Without having to move your body even, you have more control over your surroundings than someone who's out there just slamming things like, I'm going to make this happen, I'm going to make this happen, I don't like this, I'm going to fight against it. And they're putting up such a wall around them. It is, again, I come back to Star Trek. The original series had a few, I mean, I thought the whole thing was great, but we all have favorite episodes if you're into Star Trek. But my favorite ones are the ones that exemplify exactly things that we're dealing with as humans but can't see because we are human. And they're glorious to see. I think, in the case of manifesting physical things that you desire, shore leave, excellent to show you is what's happening when we are only in non-matter, or I should say, it's the more like would matter. The matter part of us is more particle than wave. And I guess that might be like on and off. You know, parts of us are like on and off. We flit like lights and fireflies. And there's things that we're busy doing, not just what we see with these eyes. We are in our norm, the majority of our norm, are able to manifest in terms of energy, the feeling of it, the taste of it, the feeling of it if we want to, like that, as fast as a thought, faster than a thought, because we're slowed down by the brains. The brains are a great tool for what we want to do here. This is the playground. This is our shore leave in a way. And it's just that we'd like to see things happen slowly enough so that we could be participants, so we can be the creators. It is so exciting to have hands. It's so exciting to see the difference in colors. These are things that only humans can achieve for us. So we love being human, despite the short life cycles and the trials and tribulations that we inevitably experience until we start understanding that we are creating our realities more than you think. Because every time you look at something that's already here, you're looking at a past. And by even looking at it, by observing it, you're the observer. You just made it real. So while you're looking at it, it's particle. that which you can't see, the part of you that is not visible, is a wave. Now, I know that that is not exact, but it's good enough. It's good enough. Our existence is scientifically founded. We are creating everything. We're using natural laws to create everything. And some things are just so much slower because humans are so distracted so easily. I mean, look at our phones. Duh. We love distractions. But it's not just distraction. We love being here. We love feeling, smelling, tasting, touching. This is why I don't encourage people to just be with me online every day. Most days I am here for a little while at least. Usually a minimum of an hour, more often a couple to 3 hours. That doesn't mean I want everybody's always coming back here to keep me company. I love the company, love the chats, I love everything about it. I wouldn't bother being here. But more important is, and what I hope to do is to light people's fires, to spark them and their imaginations so they go forth in their own lives. They don't have to keep coming back online and sitting here to hear the same things over and over again. But when they get a little vague or you need a reminder, welcome home. So I feel more like I should be a pit stop on your way to your own greatness. And that's all I have to be. A doorway, a instigator of thought or feelings. To do that while I'm doing my own stuff is awesome. I feel elevated by it. Elevated in a way of lightness, happiness. A happier world is what we all really want. Our singularities, while we're here, of course, we tend to go, except being selfish is good, tending to your own vibe is absolute, maybe necessary, but trying to make everybody else agree with you is the mistake. The sooner we let go, trying to convince other people that they need to believe in our way, or do it as we do it, or accept only this, because if you accept anything else, there's something wrong with you. We gotta let go of all that crap, because it is crap. It inhibits our growth. We're here to extend ourselves into the world in a joyful manner, and all of us have that exact same goal. Because of the way we hold on to past, when past is not good, because that's been passed down, we are still getting rid of residual past, which is, it's just so beautiful, different ways we're doing it. It's just hard to see it because we have such opinions about how it should be done. We have people also that feel like we must hold on to the past. I agree that we should know enough about the past not to repeat the worst of it, but to be obsessed by it is to just keep repeating it, like it or not. You will bring that energy forward into the now. And if it was unpleasant, why keep going there? We'll recreate it. We recreate it over and over in waves. Look at all the people involved with the changes right now. It's just proof that they've been following patterns, the old patterns. I realized it when I realized what I was carrying from my heritage. It was like, shit, I have grown up with this, hating this, and that hate is an energy. That hate is helping others create more hate. And as one thing is born, another opposition rises. Always. always. So it's an endless cycle until we learn what we are and we can rise above it. Now, I am certainly no expert on religions or cultures that believe that we are on this reincarnation cycle, a miserable wheel of reincarnation. It's a terrible thing, and the goal is to get off that reincarnation. No, that's not the goal. We love coming here. We want to expand. There's a big part of us that loves the idea. Why do you think we have the James Webb Telescope? We want to know more about us and what our potentials can be. Now, from our higher perspective, we know what those potentials can be, and they're literally limitless to our knowledge as a whole. We are limitless. So that humans keep us holding ourselves back, and this is just really ludicrous, waste of time and energy. I'm not saying like, oh, let's take all our money and run into space exploration. At this point, certainly not. We have to take care of the rest of us. We need to take care of certain things, and it doesn't have to be a deliberate thing. It's just when you understand that every single being on this planet, everyone without exception, good, bad, ugly, beautiful, all of them, even the ones you'd wish would just drop dead and get out of your way, they're all part of you. They're all part of this whole thing. They're just diluted at the moment in some cases, but they're always being led toward resolution. Resolution of, a lot of different things going on at the same time. We are cooperative. We are, if you step back, we are like a gigantic beehive. Except there is no one queen. The collective is queen, if you want to think of it that way. And instantaneously, anything that happens to any one of us is known and in full by our higher selves. We are always able to communicate with any other higher self portion of what we see here on Earth. So it's all, I hate to say illusion, even though it is an illusion. It is a perfect illusion, an excellent illusion, and it has been extremely effective. But for us to progress, we have to start a different kind of leadership for the world, and that leadership is kind of a fusion of many aspects that we aspire to, and will serve all of us, because all of us, we're not anything kind of bored about this planet. It's always exciting. It's always more to do. So try practicing thinking good about mankind instead of wanting to see everything burn to the ground. People wishing everything would just drop dead and start over. It's so lost. There's no hope of us ever untying the knots we have. That's the exact kind of thinking that will keep us where we are. We don't want that. Understand we're all working together, even the ones who want everything to just disappear. I have heard people over time say things so horrible about themselves, they're not realizing they're talking about themselves. I would just wish a nuclear bomb would blow up a whole bunch of countries. And I have had moments feeling like that when I just get so fed up with the crap in the Middle East. I mean, like 50 years of this shit. I just don't even understand why anybody is not like saying, we're done. Let's put down the arms. We're done. I give up. Fucking do what you want. Be who you want. Worship who you want. How you want. Just let us live our lives. Let's turn this desert into a fertile ground that can feed all of us and go on about our lives. But when you make your life all about a religion, you completely screw over the culture. You keep them trapped in a place where they cannot progress spiritually, mentally, emotionally, socially. You keep them locked down. That attitude, and I'm not just saying Middle East. Look at the Christian element we have here in this country. Closed-minded, closed circle people. You cannot be anything outside of this, or you're wrong and you're bad. And oh, yuck! It's so anti-God. If you want to believe what God is and having a bigger vision of God, that is anti-God. Keeping people in one place, terrorizing them through the fear of death, punishment and death. They're death cults. You are rewarded in death. You are punished in death. What's going to happen after you die is used to blackmail you into behaviors that suit the people enforcing and profiting by those rules. So, when you find a spiritual tugging from within, that's not to kill or hurt or maim or anything. The spiritual tugging is always loving. Always. If it's not loving, if it's not caring, if it's not uplifting, then it's not that which we call God. It's that simple. If it's truly God, truly the source of all things, it always leads you with your heart, always leads you into love, caring and kindness, wanting to support, not to tear down. In fact, in love, you would tear down walls. The only walls you would have is to hold back tidal waves. Things that hold back disasters, yes, but keeping people apart, no. That is not loving God. That is bullshit, want to make some money God. And that's not worth worshiping. It causes nothing but anger and destruction and is used to keep it spreading fear. And as long as you're afraid of what's going to happen when you die, you can't move forward. You're trapped. You grab the Bible in your last years because of just in case. And I've seen this over and over. I never got into the Bible, but maybe I should. I know I'm dying. It's like, well, if you're busy being preoccupied with living, your death is not going to be an issue because you will just automatically do the right thing. You'll have nothing to lay down your head for the final time feeling guilty or shameful about. You'll have done the right thing your entire life because you're led with love instead of blackmail. Oh, hello, Cornflake. I'm most excellent. How are you? You came in at the perfect time, just ending my Sunday non-sermon. Good. Are you drawing any cornflakes today? Or making things that float on cereal? That's a cute name. Oh, adorable. Cute ones. I like that. I have a book on elves. Oh no, I think I lost that in a flood. I lost a lot of my library in 3 separate floods, and then a bunch of years in storage boxes where mildew took over. So, anyway, I had a book on elves, and I thought that they were ugly. They just made them all like kind of like bad Muppets. I was thinking about last night, in fact, because I'm working on my 3rd novel because of my age, the final installment to my No Maris series. And I was describing one of the species of beings that lives on the planet called Elak, and they're kind of like brownies, or in the movie Willow, worth seeing if you haven't. I like that. I like that. I think that's a better rendition. My ELAC are not ugly. They're mischievous, troublemaker, and believe they're boss of everything. But they can actually be quite lovely for bipedals. What medium do you like to use? Are you doing it digitally or with a three-dimensional object like a pencil or pen? I tried to transition to digital because I see digital as drawing with light. And since you're already using the electricity to run your computer or pad, um, it's really the most gentle on the environment because you're not putting any pigments or digging things up, because pigments are mined, and some dyes of course are created in the lab, but those are usually coming from things like alcohol based or petroleum based. So I think digital is wonderful. I just suck at it. Although, when I try again, I'm going to try laying the pad down. It's on a stand. It's huge. But I realize I like to lean my hand on things, and that might be what was annoying me. Oh no, alcohol is very bad to inhale, definitely. Not as bad as the benzene that was being used in other markers. But yeah, marker art, I gave up. I had a nice collection. I worked in an art store. It was as a manager of fine art materials. Loved my job, but some things I knew just don't use them. I could feel it in my body back then. I was young then. Oh, interesting. I have a big, I forget the name of it. It begins with an H, Huron or something, and it's a big one. And when actually I knocked it off its stand and it went flat, I finished up what I was doing just in that position. It felt more natural, the way we actually draw. I don't even know why I didn't just lay it down from the start. I guess because it came with a stand. And I just assumed, and I've never worked with a pad until then. Probably should have taped this down before I wet the whole thing. Well, no doubt I'll have to flatten this. making little cards that I am mailing to my stepfather down in Florida, who's in a rehab facility at the moment. He's 93. And my friend from this building, who in March ended up going to the same kind of a thing, but she's now in like assisted living, and she's 98. She went the week before she turned 98, and I mean, she needed to. She's doing way better now that she's there. She's got 3 meals a day. She had gotten to the point where she was skipping lunch. I was bringing over dinner and making extra for her to have for the lunch the next day because she was too tired to cook for herself. So the last time I brought a dinner over, I had a little talk with her. I said, look, you're 97, you're about to be 98. Why don't you let us work for you? Let people do something for you. Stop being so stubborn. Now is the time for you to just lay back and be a little kid and let everybody do things for you. And the next morning, she kind of tripped. She didn't hurt herself, but she tripped in the kitchen and decided it was time to make the call. She called 911. They picked her up and she answered the door. She was fine. She said, I need to go to the hospital, and it was so that they could start all the paperwork of getting her into a rehab. They had to evaluate her and then realized, okay, well, she's not, you know, she has stage 4 bone cancer. You wouldn't know it. She's not feeling any pain from it. And they've given her a medicine which has stopped the progression. Which is good news for people with bone cancer because it's working like a charm on her. But she's 98, you know. Anyway, so that's what I do. And so every day until I have to say goodbye to my stepfather and my friend, I make little things and I mail them out every day. Although this week, because it's been so hot and I haven't been able to do different things, well, you know, I love them and I can't be there. I don't have a car. I don't have money to go flying down to Florida. And if I got there, I guarantee you, my grumpy as ever stepfather would not have much more to say to me in person than he says on the phone. And but he loves when I send him digital cards, so I always make sure he gets those. And you know, I have a good relationship with him that's different than he has with his own kids, and he has 0 relationship with my younger sisters. So I know who he is, and I used to always corner him at family gatherings when nobody else could see because that did have an effect. And I'd force a hug on him. I'd thank him for taking such good care of my mother, who was an idiot. So over the years, he did nice things for me that he never did for anybody else. So it's a strange relationship, but it is a relationship. So these just become, like, I call them the Good Morning Gloria, because until she moved into the home, I put one out on her door every single day. So I've done over 365 paintings for her. That's definite, and after that I lost track. I started doing them on June 1st, a year ago. So June 1st made 1 year of giving her a daily painting. I started the day after I brought everything home. I had a gallery showing my first one, and so my work was in town for a month, and I had all my stuff there. It was fun. Not all of it, but it was a show. And the next day, once everything was back home, I was free again instead of focusing just on that. So that's when I started the painting every day for her. Now she has a thing for flowers and butterflies. I suck at butterflies. So I'll show you how I make butterflies. We're going to make some for this now. Yeah, yeah, that's her thing. I even got these stickers, these three-dimensional stickers. Oh, I forgot to put one on the one I just taped up. Well, I make them every day, so we'll get one out to her. Yeah, I found these cute things at the dollar store. They're kind of a little sponge on the back. I guess they're for scrapbooking. It's like 3 or 4 different kinds of butterflies on it. All the same colors, you know, but that's cute. Yesterday she called me and she said, "You're going to have quite a heavy, a thick album when I die." And I'm like, I'm not in any rush to see that. So just as long as you enjoy them, I will continue to do them. So periodically she calls to let me know how much she's enjoying them. That's very well. I'll have to press that. I have a big heavy Dutch oven that's made out of cast iron, and a big heavy Norman Rockwell painting book, and another decorating book, and so I just lay everything down and put the weight on it, and the next day it's usually perfect. Well, when I moved in here, I was in total survival mode, and my only preoccupation was getting into a safe place. And I didn't want to be involved with anybody here because I'm highly intuitive, as you probably noticed. And I immediately spotted the people who tended to make trouble, whether that was their intent or not. Matter of fact, one of them I dubbed Guardian of the Gate. It's like, that woman knows everything that's going on, and she tells everything that's going on to anybody that listens. So you never talk to that woman unless you want to get involved with something. And I just started spotting people, and then somebody actually came out and said things like that. You got it, Cookie. So I learned how to make friends here and avoid people that I don't want to be friends with, and do it all energetically without ever having to say a thing. So, cornflake. Ask and it is given, or trust your vibes. Which would you like? Our very first deck for the daily card of my old show. This is a new copy of it, an old friend found for me, because I wore the other one out. It's still really stiff, and my hands are not as strong as they were. You would think after all these years of shuffling cards that are oversized, I guess I need to do it more often. You know, you don't have to redeem a card, you can just ask. If you don't have enough points and you want something, let me know. But we are limited to 2 cards in a day per person because it's not healthy to have too much. Let us see what your message is. Clear the past. All right. Clearing the past is not easy because from the moment you were born, you started developing memory in your body, in all of the senses that as they activated, you started making memories. So you've got all these impressions. Many of them guide you to safety. Some of them just make you crazy and do not guide you very well at all. But they are in your head, and having to let go of them, well, you can't. Once things are in the brain, they're there. Unless you actually have like a stroke or something that wipes out memory, like an old neighbor of mine went out and she lost her past. She could not remember a damn thing about her entire life, especially with her husband. So that's a terrible thing, obviously. You can't do it that way. We cannot just remove. So what do we do when past comes up? Well, we can try to get rid of anything that triggers memories of an unpleasant past. If something starts good memories, but then leads to melancholy, put it away for a while until you don't have the melancholy side of it come up. Do things to distract yourselves. You cannot eliminate your past, but it will hinder you from creating a better future, because people tend to, in their normal habits, just keep recreating their past over and over and over, because we look for what's familiar. The brain feels safest in what it already knows, but the brain only knows the past. See the circle that we're stuck in as humans? It's a terrible cycle. You have to consciously choose a different feeling thought. So when the past or anything upsets you about the past, like after going through a really horrendous divorce, my husband, ex-husband, could come to mind. But it wasn't in a happy way, so I had to learn that I had to be able to mentally say, fuck you, drop dead, go away. And then I had to realize after a while, you don't want an emotional reaction. It makes it more vivid. It cements those past memories, past events that didn't do you good. So if you can't focus on something good about the past, please try and focus on something good that you want to create for your future. It can be as simple as a beautiful day, a rainy day if you like rain. It can be an ice cream soda. It can be a root beer float. It can be anything that makes you feel good. Take your mind off what bothers you, makes you feel uncomfortable, and bring it up to something that's a higher vibration. So go from your gut area, which is where your fear lives, and shame and guilt and all the crappy things that don't belong in our lives. All of that is down here. When you rise to loving things, your heart or higher, think about anything that makes you feel good and you're on the right track. The more things that feel good that you can keep bringing into your memory and about the future, the easier it is to move past whatever feels like a blockage from the past. Anger, fear, anything from the past. So I hope that made sense. Clear the past. Good. When we understand how the brain works, it's so much easier to move on. But we have to learn to talk to our brains, because anything the brain is doing, even if it's disturbing, it's because part of your brain is trying to keep you safe from a perceived threat. But the fear only interferes. Fear can motivate you to do crazy things, impulsive things, backward things. But if you are centered and clear, you can look at a situation with a little bit of distance and take a moment to decide how you want to handle it, which will be most likely extremely different from what an impulsive reaction would have been. And you make a choice that's better for you and everyone around you. That choice is always going to be the better option, but when we are fearful, we can't see it. We don't see the choices. We just think, only way this is, only way that. As soon as someone starts with that, like when you hear the news, the only thing we can do, no. As soon as they use the word only, they've just cut off a bunch of realities they don't want you thinking about. So, there you have it. People like to manipulate other people to get what they want. So there's always going to be some bullshit out there. But the thing that trips us up the most is the past. Because, like I said, that's all you got in your head is what's already been, or you wouldn't be able to recall it. Since I'm working on Numeris 3, it's been very easy for me to get into that joyful spot. Because every time I sit down to look at what I'm working on, right now I'm working on the glossary. I'm redoing it, so I'm separating. Right now my glossary includes the characters on the planet that were involved with the first story, and also things that exist on the planet. So I realize I have to make separate glossaries, and I take out all the cast of characters, put all the characters in all 3 books into one glossary of characters, and then the rest of it will be about people, the different species on the planet, and what they are involved with, what they do, like the quility love archery and yada yada yada. So when I sit down to start focusing on that, I automatically go to a happy place of creating. And you can't think 2 different things at the same time. So you can't be doing a creative thought that makes you happy. At the same time, you're stuck in a negative thought about anything. So focus is, this is how we train our brains, get control over the impulsive animal part of ourselves. Encrypted! And Cornflake, yes, you need to do that with your characters, because if they're not fleshed out in your mind, you can't just go with the flow when you want to write about it, right? Or design design a thing. You need to be out there in it. How is encrypted? It's been a very long time on. Long story short, I am making these little cards to send to my stepfather, who's in convalescent right now, and a friend of mine who is 98 and in a nursing home. And I'm sending them multiple little notes a week by mail, since I don't drive and I'm not going to Florida. So I'm doing little art things. I like I have a giant canvas over there, and first thing in the morning I was thinking of working on that today, and then my light was not good for it, so I'm doing a very 3-dimensional 28 by 40 canvas. It was going to be, I was going to have an art show in May, but then the political nightmares happening here in the US distracted me, and I decided not to spend the money on more framing and stuff, and start setting some food aside. Thank you. Yeah, it's not done, but yeah. I'm trying to just have some simple things. But let me show you my big one. Let me switch the camera view, so there we go. Okay. Hold on. This is, I literally made paper clay as I was working on it, or am working on it, and I have a whole bunch of little paper flowers that will be painted and attached. So it's big, and I'm really in love with it, and I don't want to screw it up, which is why I am actually not rushing, because I don't want to screw it up. All that paper. Oh, well, yeah, you see how good I am with cameras. Let's see, what else have I been doing? Oh yeah, I've been doing, when I feel like cooking, I've been using my phone for the broadcast instead of two cameras, and I go in the kitchen and make something. That will not happen today. Today at noon, I will go off as usual, and this time I'll probably do laundry. Y'all, you know, my love for food has only grown. So, yes, the channel has become quite a mix, although, well, I'm never going to stop, so, until I die, and, you know, all that is coming back for a different scenery. So what have you been up to, man? That, very much so. Actually, one of my favorite things right now is sesame seeds and maple syrup. That's her basic recipe right there, the two ingredients. And I throw in coconut sometimes, or coconut and sliced almonds, or sometimes I chop up some crystallized ginger and put some black pepper on it, make it a little spicier, and just make my basic stuff and pour it over. It's wonderful, and I eat that like breakfast and snacks, and yeah, it's just like addictive. I've been eating it for a while now. Matter of fact, just to make sure that nothing would happen to my supply for at least a while, I have 8 pounds of it stashed. And I do, well, right now it's hot as hell, and with our heat waves and all that, I'm not doing as much baking because the electricity to make a cake in that oven is huge. I do most of my food cooking in my frying pan, you know, so stovetop or air fryer now. But the air conditioner costs a fortune to keep me alive, because top floor, extra windows, and I just can't do too much of things. So I'm looking for ways to, I can bake small amounts in the air fryer. I can do like mini muffins or something, and being cut short, it wouldn't bother me at all. Yeah, man. When I first got my first one, I said if this was a man, I would marry it. I love this thing. It's the first time I got into French fries, which have never been one of my favorite things, although I used to like McDonald's fries, to be honest. But now, I mean, as a matter of fact, one thing I did when I first moved here was I ordered a delivery, and I guess it was one of those, I don't know, a delivery food thing, and it took forever to get a stupid hamburger and an order of fries. They were so cold and unattractive and limp. It was disgusting. And if I had had an air fryer, it would have been, yeah, you can't stop me, because That's what I like. I like doing sweet potato fries at home now because with the air fryer, if they start to get limp, you throw them back in for a minute and they're crisped again. It's like air fryer, yay! Absolutely, absolutely. Although it did me a bad thing because I discovered something that really does well in the air fryer, and that is panko coated butterfly shrimp. Oh my god. I was eating them like every day because 4 shrimp at a time, 6 minutes with some fries, bam. My favorite lunch that I used to get in Woodstock, New York when I was a kid. It's like, look, I could never get enough shrimp as a kid. It wasn't kosher, you know. But in Woodstock, we got it. And it just threw me back to, oh yeah, these are really good. And my cholesterol went through the roof. So it's like I had to cut out the shrimp. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. What I have done is I started doing more researching on YouTube, you know, foods that are good for this and foods. And one of the things that happened when I moved here was, well, not right away, but I was able to sign up for a food box, which Trump has canceled now. But up until this month, we got a food box once a month that has, you know, like a little bag of rice and a little this and everything. Well, one of the things that was very commonly in there was diced tomatoes and a couple other things. Like, well, you know what? I know you can make tomato sauce out of this, but when I make tomato sauce, I make kettles of it, and I don't have a freezer room for that kind of thing anymore. And honestly, how much spaghetti am I going to eat by myself anymore? So I looked it up on YouTube. What can I do with diced tomato? My imagination is lagging. And what I found was something that said these are the 5 best things to eat canned, where the canned version is better than the fresh version. And that got my attention. And the 5 things are canned salmon, canned chicken, not whole chicken, but the white meat chicken. Looks like a giant tuna tin. Canned potatoes, which blew my mind, but now I know why. Canned corn, canned tomatoes. What's the other one? I forgot. Well, anyway, those things are picked and processed faster than other vegetables and stuff like that. So you get your peak flavor from your corn if you buy canned corn. At least the decent big brands. I don't know about other brands, but fast processing is what that's all about. Tomatoes, same thing. They go bad too fast. They have to process them really fast. The potatoes, I discovered if you get diced potatoes, they pretty much fill the entire can with potato that's been peeled and bad parts removed. After buying bags of potatoes and having to throw so many of them away, and I understand cornflake. Yeah, I ate too much canned corn and spinach when I was a kid, and actually got a kidney stone at 12. So I now know, don't overdo it. And also, corn is not very digestible. You've got to do something with it to help it break down. That's why hominy grits, corn grits, are actually better for you than fresh corn because of nutrition, what you can absorb from it. So like, oh, interesting. So it's good to know. I look at it as fiber, with a fiber with a side of some nutrition. Oh, I agree. I love fresh corn, and because I spent 17 years with it growing in my backyard by the acre, yeah, that's my go-to. But in the winter when I can't get anything fresh like that, unless, well, if I get fresh corn in winter, it's not from around here, and I ain't trusting it because it's been traveled. So canned corn it is, and I don't even have to buy it. That's a couple of things that were coming in these boxes. So I started looking up things and saving them, and now I have a collection. It's not going to last me all year, but I have a head start on poverty, let's put it that way, or food shortages. That would be my preference, totally, because I just think it tastes better. It has less salt in it. If it's canned, it means it's been boiled, been brought up to a certain temperature to make the canning safe. So the cans are good for long distance, or canning in glass, even better when you do your own preserving. But I'm not on a farm anymore. I don't have the room, I don't have the storage, I don't have even workspace in the kitchen. So I've had to adjust in a lot of ways that I wouldn't choose as first choice, with all options available. But right now I'm in an apartment. I'm on the top floor, corner, extra window. So grateful for that air fryer. But this building is 41 years old, or 42 years old now. Maybe even 43. And there are certain little limitations, like with the electrical system. I have a microwave in here in what would be the dining area, and in the kitchen on the opposite side wall, I have my electric kettle for my tea, and they cannot work together. Instantly, off goes the fuse box. Now I do freeze stuff, like this month I got a pineapple. The pineapple was already ready to eat when it arrived. I wasn't ready to eat it. So I cut it up and, oh yeah, yeah. So they went out. I just, make sure I don't do both things at once. I don't use the microwave very much anymore, but there are times I do need it. It's very handy if you're baking something and you need to melt your butter or coconut oil. Overall, I love this place. I feel safe in it for now, but we just got informed that the company that owns the building is petitioning HUD to give them a greater electric allowance, which will raise everybody's rent by $17 a month. And we've got 30 days to protest and explain why we disagree with that idea. And I don't know if we're going to get enough people involved, because some of them don't speak English well enough to write a letter of that caliber, I guess you could say. So I'm going to go direct to the government and explain why they suck at helping people right now. Raising the cost of it? No. Tell me about it, but I've been very involved for quite some time now, and I will continue to be involved. Because, like I said, I am promoting a new kind of leadership that's more conscious, and for the globe, not just this country. So I am automatically involved. Alright, well, Gloria will like that. Should I throw a little gold in that? Oh, why not? We never like her. No, no, it's happening because Trump, in the budget that just passed, allowed electric suppliers to charge 30% more for the power. We can't afford power in this state anyway. I mean, the woman who helped me with my Medicare, she was already paying $300 a month for her electric in her house, plus a mortgage. But then, after COVID, the electric company decided to charge the customers for the money they lost during COVID. And so her electric bill is $600 with $300 to help pay back what was lost during COVID to the fucking company. Yeah. So she, I'm sure, is freaking out because there's no way she can pay the electric bill now with if the electric's going up by 30% on $300 basic, and I don't know if they're going to increase what has to be paid for back bill. I don't have that. I have a different electric company, but the one that has the most people enrolled is the one that she's with, and they are so burning people. So she'll have to sell her house. She's not going to be able to pay that kind of an electric bill and her mortgage. So, yeah, there's a lot of people that are a little upset right now in this country. For me, I have subsidized electric, which is, of course, what they're raising. The problem is, when you have if you qualify in the first place for subsidized anything, you're already in the poorest tiny percentage of the country. So I am in the poorest of the poor because I was working all my productive years, most of them for minimum wage or damn close to it, and since minimum wage did not keep up with the cost of living since the 60s or early 70s, well, whenever Reagan was in, I forget now. Since it hasn't kept up with it for the poor people, but keeps increasing for the CEOs by millions a year, yeah, it's just, there's no way I can keep up with the cost of living. Oh yeah, I'm not, look, I don't want it to sound like I'm whining, because I'm not. I mean, I'm seeing this all happening, and I'm certainly not alone. There's millions of us in this position right now. Yeah, that was it. Now, I can't get myself in a knot over things I have zero control over at the moment. That won't stop me from sending emails and phone calls to Congress and the Senate. But that's all I can do right now. And I already know. I mean, I don't have to do that with mine because mine are definitely on the side of me. I'm subscribed to all of their little newsletters, so I know what our representatives are doing at all times. I subscribe to our government's votes. When things come up for a vote, I get a note saying, this is coming up for a vote. Here's the issue. Check on what your people are, how they're voting. Oh, were they? Not much. I was class of 72. So you're still a spring chicken encrypted. 88. So you're still young enough to do things and hopefully feel good enough to do them. One of the things I noticed after I turned 70 was looking at, I don't have like a bucket list, I don't even like that expression. I like bouquet list, as one of my favorite actresses said. I have a bouquet list. There are some things that I would like to experience before I shuffle off, because I'd like to experience them while I'm still Adrian. But they're kind of modest. I'd like to take a trip to Canada by train and go to see the falls, all five. I would love that. And then come back. I love trains, so definitely anywhere I go, I want to go by train. Now, if I had a lot more energy and money, I would love to go to New Zealand, which would involve an airplane, but New Zealand is definitely that. Snowdonia in Wales, I'd love to have seen that. I don't think I'm going to make it there this time. Or New Zealand. But Canada's still attainable. I mean, I'll have to spend the money on a passport first, but it's not that much, you know, to take an overnighter by train. Oh, right. Yeah, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? Let's see. I was in 1972 on my first picket lines, and basically picketing against the Vietnam War and Reagan being, not Reagan, Nixon being elected. We were trying to prevent that, and we lost. But that was the first time I ever voted, was in 1972. So I've taken that part of my civic responsibility very seriously my entire life. I didn't get involved with that because I did not have a television. So I did not see a lot of things that people were freaked out about. I definitely approve anybody being against war, and any war, because you take a look at what it does to the people. No matter what side you're on the wrong side. Killing people, seeing all those bloody bodies, having to put them back together, having to trade prisoners, all of that bullshit. It's just bullshit. We don't need to be doing that. So Jane Fonda is still quite the activist. She gets arrested regularly trying to protect the rights of us, and especially the rights of women. So I like her more now than what I heard about as a young person. I was way out there. I don't know, my 30s. Yeah, I was in my 30s by the time I actually saw her in a movie, and she was hilarious. I knew her, again, not through TV, but because you couldn't avoid it when you went to a store. It was the Jane Fonda workouts. Her tapes were everywhere. Everything was about working out and getting fit. I don't remember it, actually. Oh, that. Okay. Yep. I didn't see the picture, but yes, I know of the incident. Well, didn't she do that after her husband came back in a wheelchair and mentally fucked up for life? Now, you were younger, so you were probably still at that point still living at home, and television would have been ubiquitous, and of course newspapers, which again, in 1972, I was working. I had been homeless for a year by then, and I was out there um, getting work and housing. So different worlds, you know, totally. And I only sign these because I've been asked to, and when I tried to give one to somebody here, they handed it back, so I would sign it. It's like, oops, sorry. So be it, I will sign it, it's not that big a deal. Oh God, the workouts, yeah, Thigh Master. But there's no doubt that all that hard working out helped them survive cancers, women's cancers. They were able to recover better than people who did no exercise. And let's get these taped down. I like doing these little teeny pictures. Every guy I met at that time was crushing on Suzanne Summers. And oh, and the other, who was that Love to Love You baby. This other Summers. Yep, yeah. Yes, again, I used to go to this one house, very nice place. They would hire me as a card reader for their parties and for a 7-course homemade Italian meal and getting stoned if I came there with my cards and my guitar. So I ate and then entertained. And while we were just passing around joints, that's when the TV would be on. And that's how I discovered what was on at the time. That's when I saw a concert at Monterey Pops, I guess it was. And I saw when Woodstock, the festival was broadcast, you know, after they recorded it. Let's see what else. There's some TV shows like Kung Fu. That was a good show, but the only time I ever saw it was when, if it happened to coincide with me doing one of their parties or gatherings. You know, I didn't go home with cash. It was just a trade-off. You know, that would be like a normal 13-year-old, I would think. And when I was a little kid, I had crushes on my piano teachers. I made them so uncomfortable. I went through like, I don't know, half a dozen piano teachers. And I didn't like women. I liked the guys. So I was already clearly after young men at that time. No, I was 16 the first time I tried it, and I was so nervous about trying it. I only took the tiniest puff because it was at work in a bakery, and one of the older girls was turning me on to it. But we had to cram in this little bitty bathroom and put the window up, which was not an easy feat with these ancient buildings in New York. And, you know, I didn't even know how to inhale it because I only smoked cigarettes, because by then I was quite a smoker, a regular smoker. But I didn't remember feeling anything, and I couldn't even tell you what it tasted like. I was just so scared of getting caught. Just being two girls in a bathroom at the same time where there was clearly only room for one. So it was like, I don't even want to be in here because this is going to look bad. If we get caught in here, that's obvious we're doing something illegal. Other things never crossed my mind. I was kind of an innocent with that. But yeah, I was actually 16 and I oh God. Yeah. Oh, I acted silly in front of my father and stepmother. I had a very strict life for a few years. When I went to live with them, I was escaping the other thing. And everything was monitored, deeply monitored. And I had a friend upstairs who was my age. Her bedroom was right over mine, and we had a signal system. We had a box on a string with a bell. So we could share things through the window, and nobody knew, you know, because she could tap on the floor and I'd hear her because we were always freaking studying. But she was also doing some bad girl things that I did not do. And one night, she had snuck a guy in her room, all right, a full-grown black basketball player in this very conservative white family, right? So she stuffed him in the frickin' closet. And she was scared about the other thing. He brought weed. So she sent it down to me. I hear the bell, like, he's stuck in the bed, he's stuck in the closet. Oh, God. Yeah, well, I ended up with this pot, but I didn't want to get caught with it. So I, at that time, was trying to save money. I rolled my own cigarettes. I was allowed to smoke cigarettes because my stepmother was a prolific, constant chain smoker. One off the other, like, all the time. My father smoked cigars, not a lot, but yes. So they were used to smoke, and I was allowed to smoke cigarettes. So I took the weed and I dumped it in with my tobacco. And it looked very sparse. I mean, you could barely tell there was anything in there. Shook that little can up because it was pretty full, and didn't think too much about it. But then I rolled a smoke for myself, and I had to go walk the dogs. So I'm out there in the night, smoking a regular cigarette, I think. And it's a menthol cigarette, could not taste anything weedy, so I didn't think about it. I get back to the apartment, you know, answer the usual. Now they're in a den watching TV. I don't remember, probably the Knicks. They loved basketball. So the only time I was allowed to watch TV pretty much was if they were watching it. So I watched what they watched, because if I wasn't studying, I was combing my stepmother's hair like Cinderella. Yep, so here I am, 16. I came in and I was stoned as hell and did not know it. All I knew is I was hungry. I had the munchies, which nobody told me about. I had no clue that would even happen. And the only thing in the house was white bread, like white Wonder Bread, and there was some strawberry jam, which I had never in my life tried. I made myself a strawberry jam sandwich out of desperation to eat something. Cut it into quarters, went in to the den to comb her hair and watch TV over her shoulder, and I took a bite of the sandwich and I went, "This is so good! Have you had strawberry jam on white bread? This is delicious. I had no idea." Yep. I was happy and hungry, and I ate that sandwich in record time, which was a record for me because I was known to be a very slow eater. The kind of person that would pick out the strawberry seeds in the strawberry jam, all right? So I just ate it all down, and I went and made a second one. Yes, it was such an extreme experience. My first stone, my first intense flavor. So they both looked at me like, and they made a, once I got dosed, and they knew I was dosed because they got dosed. That was the April Fool's Day cake that we accidentally all got stoned on. Oh, well, that's every day, sweetie. It's legal in my state. Also, I've got a medical card. I have learned to enjoy cooking and eating more than ever. But yeah, you don't forget the first time, right? I think they figured something was up, but they were always inspecting things to make sure I wasn't doing any kind of drugs, all right? So they could not fathom how I possibly could have gotten high just walking the dog. Oh, yeah. I'm very grateful that my state came to its senses. The one thing that's weird about this state, it's getting less so now, but when I entered the program, It was $100 for a medical license, and of course the paperwork was submitted by their doctor, and they emailed you the okay, everything has gone through, print out your card, you're not getting another one, don't lose it. And you have to do it every year. You have a wonderful night. No, only on Sundays in the morning. Usually after lunch, Eastern time. So usually you'll find me here around 3 p.m. if you're awake. No, I'm on almost every day, unless I have a doctor appointment that changes my schedule. Sunday's the only time I guarantee I'll be here, and at the same time, 10:30 to noon. So, thank you for coming in. It's been so long. You gotta catch me up on what kind of things you're up to. Have a great week. Is it Monday for you? Oh, I absolutely will. 11 a.m. Well, you have a great day. Central. Okay. Not bad. Stay high, stay dry. Be careful out there. Anybody else who's here, I will say the same thing to you. I'll be back. Cornflake, if you're here, thank you so much for coming. I will be back late this afternoon. We'll probably cook something. Until then.